Teacher, can you call on me? Can I help you? Oh, look at energetic Eddie. He's not following the rules. Okay, this next learning personality is Dependable Diane and Dependable Dan is what I've named them for you to understand this learning personality. Okay, here are some descriptions about this type of personality. They are organized. They're not wannabe organized. They are organized. They are precise. They are hardworking. They're stable. They're detail-oriented. They're called pioneers. If you kind of think back in the time of Westward Ho, of the pioneers that went ahead, they're pioneers. They follow instructions well. They're nurturing, sensible, dependable, conservative, detailed, oriented, like I explained. Okay, these are the persons that like routine. These are the ones that actually public school caters to because they follow the rules. They're the teacher's pet. They don't wiggle. They love the schoolroom. They love all office supplies. They love a public school setting, and they actually sometimes feel they thrive in a public school setting because they don't have any problem with it. And they probably do. Because again, no matter what the public school touts, this is the particular learning personality that it caters to because they'll be quiet and they'll sit and they'll actually learn things from a workbook. And they don't mind. They like it. Okay, with that being said, they have their frustrations as well. They can be inflexible. Here's the rules. Here's what she said. Here's what we have to do. There's no room for flexibility. They're also a perfectionist, over and over trying to get something just right. Yes, a perfectionist. They're not adaptable no matter what they say. They're pretty rigid, and they can't deal in generalities. Okay, so we have another personality. Let me give you an example. We have a mom's whose teaching style is she likes creative writing. So Dependable Dan and Dependable Diane don't do so well with creative writing because it's so open-ended. They want more detailed instructions. How do we do this? This child will struggle because that's not one of their strengths. They could do creative writing, but they have to have an idea of what you want, not just general. So sometimes as a teacher, we could be making our child feel like they're less if they're energetic Eddie or Dependable Diane because they don't want to do creative writing. They want, in other words, they don't want any generalities. They also have trouble dealing in abstract thinking. Again, not anything abstract. Give me precise, give me rules so I can understand. Also, let me give you this example. My son, my first one, was taking gymnastic classes. The teacher was quite scattered and didn't think it was important to tell us that this was a different class. So my son comes in and he's young and he realizes it's not the same people who he normally meets with. Well, an energetic Ellie teacher was, oh, great, an opportunity to meet new people. Not Dependable Diane and Dan. No, 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 no. You see, something is out of the ordinary. They thrive in routine, which is a good, bad thing. But see, it's almost like they have to suffer or grieve a change. Sometimes as teachers, if we're a different learning style than our child, we don't understand, well, why can't they just start school at the time we start school? Why don't they do well with that? They don't. They need a specific time to start school. They need consistency. And my son didn't want to meet with a bunch of people he didn't know. It was out of the ordinary. It was out of the routine. This isn't what he does. Nope, he wouldn't take that class. Now, as a Dependable Dan gets older, or Dependable Diane gets older, they realize things happen. And I always explain to him, when I figured out what his learning style was, from then on, I explained to him, now, sometimes things don't turn out like we planned. We have to learn to be flexible. If it's not turning out how we think, it's okay. We're just going to change and go on. But it's funny because it almost is like a grieving process when they're young. We can't make them be anything different than what they are. This rocks their world. It's a change. So if you have a child like that and you're a different type of teacher, then you need to help them with that. Also, the way you can help them is by being consistent with your day. They're naturally organized. They want a spot to organize their things. They don't want to be scattered. They don't want to know at the last moment there's a field trip. Sometimes it's hard not to do that, but these things grieve and stress this type of child. Okay, those are the good things. Those are the frustrations. Let's go on to some of the subjects, some of the things they like, and some of the teaching tips.